Old school Nutnfancy knife review. I know, TMPers around the world go, dude, old school, new school, no school. We just want more Nutnfancy knife reviews. I know. I thank you for that. I appreciate the sentiment. I really do. I'm working on it. You guys know there's a lot on my plate here in TMP. And yes, knife reviews are and will forever be foundational to the Nutnfancy project. Kind of like this Hall of Famer. Kershaw 1760 Skyline. Yep, previously reviewed in the Nutnfancy project. TMPers are going, dude, deja vu, didn't you review that like last year? Yep. And lots of TMPers are going, I know you reviewed it because I watched your review and I went out and bought the knife after I saw it. I'm talking probably thousands of TMPers did that. No joke, because I've talked to a lot of them online and in person, carrying their 1760 Skyline in their pocket when I met them. And they would say, Nutnfancy, look at this. And they'd, whip out the 1760 and say, Skyline. I was like, oh, that's a great knife choice. And I tell them it's a Hall of Famer in the Nutnfancy project. And it's been that way for a long time. To reach Hall of Fame status in the Nutnfancy project is saying something. It means in all the categories, all the things I talk about on my talking points, the knife gets it right. And it's entered into my best of playlists that you can access from my channel page in the upper right. You can click playlists. You'll see them there. And I try to keep those updated with my best knives. And then among those best knives are my Hall of Famers. To me, a Hall of Fame knife is one that I personally use a lot, that I love. It is generally a factory-produced blade, high value, lightweight, wicked in pretty much all the categories. 1760 Hall of Famer. So, anyways, I checked out my review the other day. For whatever reason, I was referencing it or embedding it into another of my videos, and it started playing. I was like, dude, this review sucks. It did. I mean, it was just, I'm sorry. It just did. I wasn't happy with it. That's why I'm doing it now. I didn't have the talking points at that point. There were some other things that I forgot to mention. And so I'm going to redo the review right now. I want to show you a different model. And the 1760, of course, has updated steel since March 2009. So here we go. Let's get started. Succinct as possible. 1760 Skyline. Cool name, cool knife, great knife company. Here is a blister packaged 1760 purchased from Walmart by me personally. It's been in my storage for over 1.5 years. No joke. Well, why'd you store it, Nutnfancy? You want to know? You're going to laugh. Because I didn't know if Kershaw would continue to make the 1760 and I wanted to have more than one in the collection. That's how much I dig it. Told you, Hall of Famer, baby. Zip this one out already, man. It's like opening the tomb in Raiders of the Lost Ark. Tip protector off. If I were to tell folks, and I have many times, or try to convey to them the awesomeness of the 1760, with or without talking points, I would start right here. The weight. I've been harping on that ever since I started the Nutnfancy project, in my knife reviews, in my gun reviews, in my LBE reviews, you name it. I usually will get around to the weight issue because it is so critical when we consider firepower versus mobility concerns. That's a general term. Look up my vid on that if you're interested. When we talk about philosophy of use on the Skyline 1760, we're not talking about a tactical blade. We're talking about a utility knife. Everyday carry tool that we'll have with us. A carry companion. In that role, weight is also critical to me. It might not be to you. I've said that like 1,000 times in my knife reviews. But at 2.4 ounces for a 3 1/8 inch blade, 7.9 centimeters for my European and Asian friends, that is an amazing achievement. And there starts the greatness of the 1760. That we get so much knife in that 2.4 ounce carry weight. And yes, there are lighter knives to keep it real. Got to roll in another Hall of Famer. The SOG Flash 1. First knife ever reviewed here in the Nutnfancy project. Why did I start with the Flash 1? Because it's lightweight, just like the Skyline. See the similarity of what we're talking about? If I'm going to promote something to my friends across the world, It's going to be stuff that I really dig, and yes, that I personally really use. Full flat ground, 1.2 ounces, great pocket clip, assisted opening, a little bit expensive. Sock flash one, amazing. However, in some ways, a Skyline beats it. Can you tell one? Look at the size of the blades. Yep. Don't get carried away though. Guys say, yeah, I love that Skyline blade. It dominates a Flash 1. It does. It's true. It is. It's a much larger blade. But when you're talking about philosophy of use and you're being honest and correct, again, these are my opinions here, about what constitutes a good and functional EDC knife, then don't get carried away in the blade size. Otherwise, if you do, next thing you know, you're going to be carrying like a cold steel large Espada. Too big. This blade size, 3 1/8 inch, is pretty much ideal in my many months of carriage of the Skyline. And I'm echoing what a lot of other TMPers have said in the comments, to me personally, and the emails and stuff. It's perfect. Just the right size. Blade shape. Now, generally, I hate the spear point. I don't care what roll you're talking about. I just think they have such limited usefulness in so many different rolls. I'm just not turned on by it. But actually, I think the Skyline is more of a drop point than a spear point. A good spear point example might be, just like I showed you in the original Skyline review, CRK TM16 EDC knife. Now that's a spear point blade. And no, I don't dig it. Why? Because it's mainly designed for the pierce cut, the piercing movement. This is one that I had reprofiled by a dude named Zach Wood, a very talented knife sharpener. He's the one that brought that relief edge back and made it usable. I carried this knife for several months. I never dug it. I didn't like how thick the spine was, how the grind starts mid-spine, and I just stopped carrying it. And that's what I find I do when I have knives that I just don't dig. And no, it's not a Hall of Fame knife. I think I reviewed this like a long time ago. Skyline, however, doesn't have those problems. For one, it has more belly right here in the tip. See that? Your most used portion of your EDC blade is going to be from right here to right about there. Okay, so you might want to have one that has some belly on it. Also, although it's not full flat ground, i.e. FFG, which I do prefer, it is hollow ground and it comes razor sharp out of the box. So great job, Kershaw. They generally get it right on their higher end steels. Skyline is no exception. This one has a somewhat thin tip, and I'm glad for it. In my EDC blades, I don't know about you guys, but I want ones that can perform in-field surgery, that can do some detail work, and the Kershaw Skyline 1760 can do just that. March 2009, Kershaw upgraded the steel on the 1760 Skylines. Hallelujah. Once upon a time, it was 13C26, a martensitic stainless chromium steel from Sandvik, kind of like they use in razor blades. And nope, I never did get a lot of experience with it. I know some quality TMPers for a fact, because I've talked to them personally, that did. And I heard very bad things about it in terms of rust resistance. Like out of the box, it was rusted when it was stored in a high humidity environment. I don't know the percentage of humidity, but 13C26 had some serious rust issues. Enter the new steel, 14C28N. Some people refer to it as kind of like a poorer version. I don't know if poor is the right word. Let's say more affordable version of S30V. It's a fine carbide stainless steel, and like 13C26, and this was an upside of 13C26 actually, it takes a very fine edge. If you don't believe me, take your out-of-the-box Kershaw Skyline and do some paper cutting tests with it. It'll cut just like a razor blade. I'm still getting experience in it, though. I've talked about it in some other reviews. There's other Kershaw models that use it. It has, from what I've seen so far, excellent hardness, good corrosion resistance. I don't know if I'd go as far to say as outstanding corrosion resistance. I haven't really tested that. High toughness. It's easy enough to sharpen. They say it has good nitrogen integration, the 14C28N. Did I say that right? I think so. It's an upgraded steel, though. And Kershaw was wise in upgrading it. point in saying all this is you're going to get a better steel than you would have 2 years ago if you would have bought a Skyline. So that's pretty much outstanding. Good job, Kershaw. I think the steel choice is adequate, if not excellent, for the price you're paying for the Skyline. Speed. Let's just call that excellent while we're at it. It is a flipper design. This one new out of the package. You just saw me get it out. Hasn't been adjusted at all, right? A little bit of a wrist flip is necessary if you want to get it out fast. If I just do it with a flipper tang, this particular one does fine just as well. Nice though. I love the flipper designs. At least on the Skyline I do. There's a thumb stud if you want to actuate it that way. A little bit hard to do because it's occluded by the G10 handle material. Right? Lockup and strength. Excellent. Another reason it's a Hall of Famer. It has no issues out of package. And here's one I haven't even looked at yet. No side to side, no up and down. Yes, you can adjust the pivot point. Very standard on a lot of different knives. There are actually knives, EDC blades, you come out of the package with and they have issues. They wiggle and they need to be tweaked and fine-tuned before they have good lockup. The strength is going to be whatever it is for a liner lock. Some guys will say, I don't like a liner lock, it's not strong enough for me. I think in the POU of EDC blade, it's more than adequate. And I've seen some frame designs that have surprised me too. Maybe I'll talk about that in the future. There's the old Kershaw Barrage frame lock. I don't know if frame locks are all they're cracked up to be in some models. Stay tuned, I'll tell you what I'm talking about. And in the EDC blade, I have no problem with the liner lock. Remember, we're not talking tactical here. Handle material. I call it, always have called it, medium traction G10. Okay, the high traction I've shown you in a lot of different reviews. I absolutely love it. And talking about loving it, no steel liners in the 1760 Skyline. Let's break out one of the world's best pen lights, the 4.7s Preon 2. Love it, carrying it all the time. I don't see any steel in there, do you? Nope, that's pretty evident just when you put it on the scale. 2.4 ounces, it can't have steel in there. Whether it's skeletonized or not. I love the handle material. Just outstanding. How about the ergonomics? Deep finger groove right there. Holds nicely. No jimping. That's kind of a miss. In such a fashion that I actually took one of my Skylines and made some jimping. Get ready to laugh. There's the rushed Nutnfancy jimping job on a 1760 Skyline. Let me tell you, it pretty much rocks for functionality. First type of cool, the thumb locks on the top of the spine. If there's any change that I would make to the 1760 Skyline, it would be the integration of topside jimping. Just like that. I just did that with, Dremel tool and a grind wheel. Took me all of 5 minutes, which you could probably tell by my sloppy job. I should have taken my time. Yeah, I miss jimping topside. But in the EDC knife category, it's not a necessity by any means. And with that deep finger groove, the handle, which is fairly ergonomic in hand, don't know if you need it. If you needed to go reverse hold, could you do it with a 1760? Yeah. I don't know why you would, an EDC roll, but you could. Ergonomics are pretty much excellent. I told you about the thumb stud, though. How it's occluded. It is left and right, ambidextrous. It's primarily a flipper design. We're talking about ergos. Another point on the handle. It is mostly flow-through, i.e. open construction. Having carried the 1760 for many months, it is an easy proposition to keep it clean. A little bit of compressed air in there. If you really muck it up, i.e. drop it in the mud, the knife is pretty easy to take apart. I know this because I did several run and guns with a Skyline in my pocket on the dirt side when I was going prone. Maybe I'll throw some footage in there. And I found out real quick, that don't work so good with your knife. All the dust, grit, and everything gets in your pivot point, and about the only way to really get it out, take the knife completely apart. It happens. With a 1760, not a big deal. It's all mini Torx. It comes apart and puts back together relatively easy. Another thing I forgot to say on the blade, they call it stonewashed. This 14C28N version. To me, it looks more bead blasted. To me, stonewash means kind of a tumbled stainless steel finish, which this is not. I might be getting that wrong. Apologize if I am, but this looks bead blasted. I do love how they stamp it though. 1760, all the information there. There's the manufacture date. I love that. going down the talking points that takes us to clip design. I like the clip on the Kershaw 1760. I said as much in my original review. Nothing has changed. It's strong. It's relatively unobtrusive. No Wizard of Oz issues. Nutnfancy, when you say Wizard of Oz issues, what are you talking about? I'm talking about goofiness. You know, flared out, just ridiculous clips that are just too big, too much metal. They're sticking out. They're obtrusive. They scrape your car. You know, they bend because they're grabbing on things. I have not seen that with a Skyline at all. And here comes another change. You guys will get mind freaked over this one. You know how I always say I like carrying tip up pretty much? With the 1760, having carried it for many months, I like tip down with this particular design. I know, hold the boats. That's because of the way the handle's designed. If you go tip up in the 1760 Skyline, you're going to have more protruding from your pocket, which I generally do not like. Again, getting back to things, grab on things, get lost. And I have lost, by the way, a Skyline. It's gone. And I was carrying it in that fashion, tip up. And I think I was on a hike or something, and it was gone. If you carry it tip down, it's going to bury deeper in your pocket. I'll roll in a picture. See what I'm talking about? And since it's an EDC blade, not a tactical knife, speed to me is not paramount, bringing it out of the pocket. And even tip down, it comes out relatively quickly. But suit yourself, you can position that clip whatever side you want. Tip down, tip up, they give you the option. Great job, Kershaw. It is, however, not reversible left and right, like the Spyderco, which I still love. But, you can choose tip up to tip down. Awesome. Durability has been excellent in my own use. We talk about track record. That's the advantage of doing another, redoing a knife review. No, I won't do it a lot, just for my Hall of Famers once in a while. It is an extremely durable knife. I've seen no issues with it. If you do have an issue, durability-wise, you're covered by one of the best knife companies around, Kershaw. I've seen nothing but excellent service from Kershaw. And even before I was doing the Nutnfancy project. I mean, they're very fast, they're responsive, they're nice folks. I enjoyed meeting with them at SHOT Show. We'll probably do a booth review with them sometime, maybe 2011 SHOT. Great folks. Durability is outstanding. Value. Here's another huge reason why the 1760 is a Hall of Famer. For $30, you get everything we've talked about. A great knife steel, lightweight, good speed, solid lockup, pretty much, I won't say perfect, but near perfect blade design. Excellent sharpness, good handle material. All these things for $30? Look in the link right there, and that's where I recommend getting it if they have it in stock. Maybe I'll throw up a secondary link if they don't. If you're desperate, go to Walmart and buy it. They have it. Okay? Down to cool factor. Great value. Okay, you guys ready? This is another reason I'm redoing this video. Okay, cool factor is pride of ownership. Okay, and even though my jimping job on that sucks, it does, to me it's a customized knife. Anytime I customize a knife, to me it becomes more special. It's something different. I like it. I just dig it. Check this one. 1760 Skyline and ACU camo. Shut up. That's pretty sick, huh? Thank you to Thomas W. Forwarded this on to me by my request. I contacted him. I caught wind that there is this ACU version running around out there. And to be honest with you, I'm contemplating making this into a Nutnfancy special edition. Because I love the ACU camo. We're talking about cool factor here. Is it necessary in an EDC knife? Of course not. But it's cool looking. Every time I look at the ACU, I'm like, that's sick. That's sick. I don't know if I'll do it. I'm just thinking about it. It's a lot of money for me to order these and market them out to TMPers around the world. It's doable. We'll see what the interest is in the comments below. I'd probably come out with perhaps a different steel, maybe a different knife finish. It would say the Nutnfancy project. I might even go with a blackened blade. I will stick with the ACU camo scales, though. I think those are sick. Cool, huh? Cool. Right now, I think that one's the same steel, 14C, 28N. And by the way, if I do make those changes, make it a Nutnfancy special edition, it will be limited numbers. And I would like to put serial numbers on them. And buy them when you see them, because they're going to go fast. And they're going to be cool. And I want several myself. Second type of cool, baby. Oh, yeah, I was going to tell you, if I add all those other features, it might add cost. So I just don't know. Nothing's for free, so if I want to do changes to the knife, money, money, money. Cool factor, though. Even if you don't have an ACU version, maybe one day, TMP Special Edition 1760 Skyline. The 1760 is a great knife. It is a Hall of Fame EDC knife choice for all the reasons I've talked about. Super lightweight, super fast, great lockup, good steel, great price, backed up by a company that has your back if something goes wrong. That's a Kershaw 1760 Skyline. You should have one, preferably 5. This has been a Nutnfancy old school knife review. Thanks guys for all the support. More knife reviews coming. You'll see.